There's a rating system for just about everything these days. For almost any service, any business, any product, you will have the option to go in and leave a rating. YouTube videos have their likes and dislikes. Even universities send students surveys, or at least they do in Australia. Our system seems to revolve around ratings these days, which is unfortunate because in my opinion, they almost all suck. Now, in some cases, reviews and ratings are pretty important. If I'm going to buy a new laptop, I want to be able to see how that laptop performs and if it has any known reoccurring flaws. If I'm buying something from online, it's generally helpful to know if the person or website I'm buying from is going to sell me that Neo Genesis Holo Typhlosion or kidnap me and sell me off as a drop bear on the other side of the world. It's also good to know if the horrendously expensive B&B or hotel you've booked actually looks like those pretty photos, or if they're just going to be full of dirty, dirty lies. In those respects, a star rating and a review makes perfect sense. Hell, there even seems to be a rating star system on most dating websites these days. Does anyone else remember that episode of Black Mirror where they can digitally rate each other in real time? Why do I feel like we're a lot closer to that than we should be? Anyway, where I have a problem is when this comes to books, and if I'm really specific, Goodreads. See, anyone can leave a review on Goodreads. In fact, anyone can leave a review on Inkit or Wattpad or even AO3, and of course, anyone can leave a comment on a YouTube video or short, provided the comment section is still turned on, obviously. And sometimes I can't help but wonder if everyone should be able to leave a review or comments on books. Why do I say this? Well, according to Google, a good review is meant to highlight not just the weaknesses, but also the strengths of the book. And I don't think that happens as often as it probably should. There is truthfully nothing more humbling than reading 1-star reviews of famous books. Let's play a game. I'll read the review and you try and guess the book. What a huge disappointment. The concept sounded amazing and it got off to a promising, if slow, start, but it quickly turned into a messy, melodramatic story that was neither surprising or original. Much like Gone Girl, there wasn't a single likable character in the entire book. That wasn't the main problem for me, though. I could see the ending coming from a mile away. Actually, more like I figured out who the main villain was within the first 20 pages. Never a ringing endorsement. This was Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I will never understand how this book is so highly rated. Never. I read this after I saw the film because I thought, hey, I'd love to see that explored more and see what parts they left out because that film was great. Let me tell you, that wasn't what happened. How they got that film from this book, I will never know. All the interesting characters you meet in the film were almost an afterthought in the book, there and gone in a flash. I am so disappointed by this book. It's been almost 10 years since I read it and I'm still not over it. This was Stardust by Neil Gaiman. Oh boy. The old white men in the comments can suck my pee-pee. My point stands years later. This book is only good because of nostalgia. All these characters are men, and for what? I don't have to look past that just because it's a classic. Leave me alone and stop trying to explain how I'm not getting it. I got it just fine and I hate it. F off and go get a life. Wow, this person must be delightful at parties. If you didn't get it, this review is obviously for The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Custodial staff of 1% resort commits grave breaches of employment agreement, including fraternization by failing to keep grounds free and clear of supernatural deterioration. This was The Shining by Stephen King. Last one. This review only relates to the ebook formatting, not the content. Whilst it's nice to have everything in one place, the navigation and downloading of the ebook version leaves something to be desired. I have since gone on to download from other sources only the Sherlock Holmes stories, as they were the ones I intended to reread. Okay, well this one's very obvious. It's the Sherlock Holmes series, but I left it to last for a reason. This person has given this story a 2-star rating. The story. The author, ignoring the fact that he is now very dead, cannot control the format in which this person has decided to download and read the book from. This rating is there to reflect what you think of the plot and story itself, not some random formatting error. When you look at an overall star rating on a book as a whole, you're not going to know what that 2-star rating is for unless you go into the comment section, find it, and read it. So for someone just glancing at a book and seeing that it has a low rating, they're not likely going to think, oh, well, maybe those low reviews are because there was a formatting issue. They're going to think, wow, this book must be really crap. I know that sounds really melodramatic, and obviously the likes of Sherlock Holmes and The Hobbit don't need me to stick up for them, but this happens a lot, and not always on books that have a lot of other reviews that can support them. I'm not sure a book can even exist and not have at least one low rating. In some regards, I find this actually kind of comforting, but as an author being on the receiving end of a 1-star rating, it can be hard to keep this fact in mind. I'll use trusty old Inkit for my example. Readers can give up to 5 stars in 4 different categories: overall rating, plot, written style, and grammar and punctuation. So I open the app and I scroll through the reviews and comments left on my books because it's an addiction and I can't help myself, and I come across one review in particular. Now, the review itself was actually really lovely. They enjoyed the book, the plot line, and they even enjoyed the slow development of the main character. 3 out of the 4 categories had 5 stars. One didn't though. In grammar and punctuation, they had given me 1 star. Now, to be very clear, I'm not saying that people can't leave 1-star reviews. Clearly, this person thought the problem was bad enough to rate it that way. I personally thought that was a bit harsh. When I think of 1 star in grammar, I think of something that's basically unreadable, but hey, it's there now, suck it up. Clearly, I need to improve my grammar and punctuation more. Aside from the gut-wrenching feeling of seeing that lone star is the knowledge that it will always be there on this platform. It doesn't matter if I pay a professional editor to go over the book with a fine-toothed comb and re-upload it. That 1-star review will always be there. It can't be removed or reviewed or edited even by the person who left it there. It will remain a permanent mark on that story, unless of course I delete the story. And that's kind of what I'm getting at. In a similar vein, as a YouTube creator, you have access to YouTube Analytics, which can tell you everything from how many views you get per video, who your audience is, and what your top content is. To me, it looked like a whole new level of overthinking. And now the ratings are not only coming from your viewers, but also, in some sense, from yourself as you compare every inch of each video to the one before it. Thankfully, I'm not crazy to think this because Super Eyepatch Wolf covered this in his video, Influencer Courses Are Garbage, The Dark Side of Content Creation, which I'll link below.
Listen to how nearly every creator I spoke to reacted when I brought the video rankings up.
You know when you go into your creator studio and up the top left is that thing that ranks your videos in order from 1 to 10, your 10 most recent videos?
You mean the devil? But the devil.
The devil.
But it can also be heartbreaking, I guess.
Just like obsessed over that and not gotten anything done. I've done that before where I just like, a video does poorly and I just like lose an entire day because I'm just like, oh, fuck.
Clicking on or less people are clicking through than average. Yeah, screw that stupid notification. What constructive thing could I possibly do with that information?
Yeah.
I guess I put all this work into these videos and I'll make something and I'll be like, this is really good. I think this is really good. And going into that YouTube creator studio and seeing 10 out of 10, at the bottom of the list.
Again, as a baby channel, I don't have to worry about this yet, but I'm already concerned as I check my stats almost religiously on my writing platforms as it is. People can be incredibly harsh, both with rating reviews and with their comments. Whilst mindlessly scrolling at 4 AM in the morning, I was rather baffled by this video.
Last time I posted this design, we received so much hate on the video that I actually had to turn comments off. Luckily, it was only on one platform, but the video went viral, and it went viral to an audience that clearly did not love what we do. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, oh boy, does it. There was nothing controversial in the video. All I said was that it was renter friendly and they were putting it in their bathroom, and that I was obsessed with the custom colors, just like I usually say in these videos, but people hated it. And we probably had about 1,500 comments, and 80% of those were just people hating. So I turned it off.
This is Mindflowers. For those who don't know this channel, this is it. These are the videos. She puts together the light switches and shows off the designs in these little clips. That's really all there is to these videos, which is why the newest one kind of stunned me. They're light switch covers. Why are people like this? How do you even turn light switch covers into controversial content? I'm actually kind of amazed. More importantly, why do we care? Why do we put so much focus on something that's so awful? It's not actually rocket science when you think about it though. At the end of the day, it's because it feels terrible. It feels awful to know that you've made something and people don't like it. But it's also important to remember that sometimes, especially when it comes to things like videos, a comment section can just devolve even without your influence. I'm going to play another short clip in a moment from a creator by the name of Struthless. He's a fellow Aussie who is a professional illustrator and animator. He makes incredibly wholesome content on everything from how to deal with doom scrolling to some tips on organizing your life and setting constructive goals. I know that sounds a bit dull, but I promise it's not. He's an incredibly down-to-earth dude who doesn't back away from some of the darker moments in his life, which is why I was genuinely upset on his behalf when he posted this.
Only one moment that we need to look at for this story, for the story of doom scrolling. A few days into being new parents, I took this photo and I posted it. Like, yay, half out of pride, half out of, hey, I will not be writing back to any messages for a hot minute. As you can imagine, a whole lot of lovely people were saying lovely things, lots of congrats, lots of welcome to the world, little baby, that kind of stuff. And then right there in the middle of all of these comments sits this one. Woo, baby, look at this one. Isn't this a frickin' pearler? We got one in the wild.
Nice timing. I'm sure that baby will love experiencing climate apocalypse and water wars. Couldn't possibly have adopted a baby in need.
Hell yes. Apparently I'm the worst person ever. All environmental problems, that's on me, guys. Sorry about that one. My bad. Won't happen again. Me, my wife, who couldn't walk for the next 6 weeks, and our 3-day-old child, we managed to cause the water wars.
I've posted a link to the rest of the video below. I would encourage you to watch it because it does thankfully have a happy ending. Comment sections on social media and news websites are often breeding grounds for toxicity due to several factors. Anonymity can embolden users to say things that they would never say in person. Dehumanizing others behind screens exacerbates this, as does the lack of real-time feedback. Additionally, mob mentality quickly escalates negativity, with one toxic comment triggering a cascade of similar responses. These combined elements contribute to create hostile and unpleasant online environments. I know this video comes across as a giant negative, but in a way, I see this as kind of motivational. Just hear me out for a second, I promise I'm going somewhere with this. No matter what you write, no matter what you film, what you design, or what you perform, there is always going to be someone out there who doesn't like it. It's just a part of life, and it's the one thing that you will always have in common with every other creator. In fact, it's probably the only other thing other than breathing that I can confidently say that I have in common with Ryan Reynolds, the current Queen of Norway, and Adele. I can give all the usual advice, starting with the one that we all know but many of us completely struggle with, and that is to cut down time in these spaces. Stop doom scrolling the comments and spending each moment agonizing over every single negative review. Leave positive comments yourself, and if you're going to criticize a work, make it constructive and try to mention something you like about it as well as what needs working on. I think it's safe to say that rating systems and comment sections are probably here to stay, but we get to decide how much we interact with them. That being said, what are your thoughts? Thanks for sticking around. Until next time.
Bye.